Well, as you have probably heard, that large amounts of methane is releasing at the Cascadia subduction zone off the coast of Washington. Well, we have been discussing the global warming and climate change, and I have decisively told you that it's a hoax because the CO2 is needed for plant growth. But methane, that's another matter. And methane have, over a 10-year period, 100 times more greenhouse gas potency than CO2. So with the release of methane in Siberia, because the tundra, the permafrost, is melting due to the crust of the earth is heating up. It's not from the outside, it's from the inside we have a problem. Because the particles, high energetic particles that hits the earth from the sun and cosmos is heating up the earth's core and the mantle, and that in turn is heating up the crust, producing more earthquakes and of course more volcanic activity. So the earth's crust is heating up, and that's a huge problem because methane gas, as I just said, have 100 times more potency in a 10-year period than CO2 have. So that's going to cause great concern. But also what is causing great concern is, of course, this massive release as you're watching here. This is where it's detected off the coast of Washington, is either a precursor to an earthquake, which we've been listening to and talking about for quite some time now, that this one is way overdue. But New Madrid is overdue too, San Andreas is overdue too. So we don't really know where we stand on that, but it could also be a precursor to volcanic eruptions. There are several volcanoes, underwater volcanoes off the coast of Washington. But as the diagram here shows, this looks more like earthquake than it does look like volcanic activity because it's spread over a vast area. So it seems like that the fault line is slipping and methane trapped in the Earth's crust is being released now. That is, of course, cause for great concern. We will also, in that regard, that's pretty presumptuous, but we could potentially see mass death along the west coast of United States of America, meaning the birds, because in the old days they took canaries down in the mines, because if the bird died, there was gas down there, and that gas is methane gas, and then they will have to evacuate the mine because that will be extremely dangerous. So if birds start dropping from the sky along the west coast, especially around Washington and Oregon, well, then you have a very clear indication that something is seriously wrong. And from the looks of it on this image, it looks like it's a lot of methane coming up, a lot. And you know, this methane is trapped in pockets. Now these pockets are no longer pressurized, the pressure is releasing, meaning that this potential buffer that has been on the Cascadian subduction zone is now being released, and that could in turn make the Cascadian subduction zone snap, because there's no more pressure holding it back. It's just a question of time. I mean, the Cascadia subduction zone will snap sooner or later, 10 years from now, or maybe tomorrow. right? We don't know that. I mean, earthquake science is not an exact science, even though that they can see that there are some tendencies, but they can't sound the alarm because it starts rumbling, and when it starts rumbling, it's already too late. Minor earthquakes, yeah, but if they come in successions and they are prolonged and they are increasing in intensity, then there is absolutely reason to be very concerned. And at that point in time on the west coast, Oregon and Washington, it's too late. You've got 15 minutes to get out of Dodge City, and you don't have those 15 minutes. How are you going to leave a vast city in 15 minutes and get to high ground when the traffic is dense and already the ground is shaking and people are panicking? You ain't going anywhere. So you just have to fess up and get on your knees and ask for Christ to save you, because you won't get out of town. I'm sorry, you won't get out of town. And we are looking at 5 to 10 million people swept away in the waves of tsunami when this one strikes. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. And potential that this could set off Yellowstone, but I'm not so worried about Yellowstone, even though it is a gigantic supervolcano. We got several volcanoes on the west coast in Washington and in California that is supervolcanoes, and as far as I know, some of these volcanoes are starting to smoke, not rumbling, not showing signs of earthquake activity yet, but they are venting. And the west coast all the way up to Yellowstone Park is one gigantic volcanic zone, and it has been going on for thousands of years of the displacement of our continents. That it started out in Yellowstone and it's moving towards the west, and that's why we have many volcanoes in the western region of United States of America, because the continent has moved, and underneath there where that spot is, we have a gigantic magma chamber, latest discovered. A 240 cubic mile magma chamber is growing, which I already spoke to you about after the Ridgecrest earthquake, and I told you then that this is not an earthquake. This is a precursor for volcanic eruption at that particular spot, not the Long Valley caldera, which is no more than 50 miles away. No, it's popping up in a new spot, and that's what I'm telling you. It's because there is movement of the continents. There's also movement underneath, and the movement is fast, and it's getting faster and faster the more the Earth's crust is heating up. There's more slippage, meaning it will come to a point where we will have a crustal displacement, meaning a pole shift. We're not talking about a magnetic pole shift. It's already on the move, but that's another scenario. I'm talking about a physical crustal displacement, where the lubrication of between the Earth's crust and the continents, or actually the Earth's crust with the continents upon them, and the magma, the molten magma, is being more and more slippery. And at that point in time, when that point occurs, I mean, it doesn't matter where you are, pretty much, unless you are around the Mediterranean Ocean, you're going to face some serious destruction beyond belief. And you also, depending on where you are on the globe and in what direction the tilt is going to occur. According to what I know, is the new North Pole is going to be Brazil. That's just what I have heard from several sources and people that actually know what they're talking about. So we are talking about thousands of miles of landmass being moved out of place in matter of minutes. We're not talking days here, people. We're talking minutes, half an hour tops. Then Brazil is where Greenland is now. That's fast. And the wind speeds on the landmass accordingly is going to be increasing the further away you are from the Mediterranean Ocean. So if it's tilting in that direction, the wind speed here in America will be 3 to 400 miles per hour straight line winds sustained until the earth stops. You better not be above ground. There will be no survival. None. And I mean none. Everybody will be dead at topsoil. All of you. Period. You will be sandblasted off the surface. Literally. And as far as I know now, and it's been, which, I mean, I like Paul Begley. I like his reports. He seems very sincere in what he's doing. He sometimes is a little too excited, and that's okay. I can live with that. But one thing I can't live with, that is he's sitting with this green USB flash drive with a lot of very key information about things regarding Earth. And apparently he's not disclosing that. And I just wrote him a comment on his latest upload, or his upload from November 30th, regarding that NASA and the scientific community has now officially disclosed the existence of the so-called PlanetX, but its real name is the Destroyer, or the Fiery Dragon, Red Dragon. I don't want to call it Nibiru. That word is to me washed out. It is the Destroyer, because it's going to change everything that we know about life on this planet when it is coming close enough. And I mean change everything. This will be a time where the earth will suffer affliction such as has never done before and never will again. It will be the great purification, as the Hopis are talking about, that day is coming. And that is referring to blue and red Kashina. And those are planets. So something is coming from outside, also affecting the Earth's crust, Earth's interior. But it really bothers me. If someone sends me a flash drive with some very key information that is every human being's right to know about, because it concerns your welfare, your safety, your life, I would release that immediately for everyone to see, and I will spread it all over all platforms. I will open accounts everywhere and point you to it, so you yourself can go and watch these or read this information, see slides or whatever there is on that flash drive, Paul Begley. So I'm saying to you, and you can send this video over to him, because that really pisses me off, Paul. You have no right. If this concerns us, you have no right to keep this undisclosed. No right. You have to disclose this immediately. It's not just about returning to Christ, being saved. I know this is super important, but there are actually people out there that still have a chance to turn to Christ, but they're still kind of in a limbo regarding that. And it might just be, if that information you're giving, if you decide to give it out, all of it, at once, and I mean all of it, that they down the road find Christ in all the turmoil. So you, Paul Vaguely, I'm going to unsubscribe you and finish you off, because you got no right to keep this hidden. I know for a fact, and it's been mentioned in your shows with Mike from around the world, that you got some very vital information on that flash drive, and you sit and flop it in your hand and let us all see that there's something there. Is there something there? And if there is, you're going to bloody disclose it. Is that bloody clear to you? And I'm talking to you like a brother. You make me mad. If this concerns us, you disclose it. Period. Period. All of it. And if you can't figure that out, I will gladly give you my email address, and then you flipping send it to me, and I will disclose it. Because I don't care. I don't care if I get a knock on the door from NSA, CIA, or whoever it is. I'm willing to lay down my life for humanity and Christ to get this out to people. I don't care. But it seems like when you are sitting with this flash drive for so long, you are more concerned on keeping your ministry than actually looking out for your community. That's how I see it. And that makes me upset. You disclose this now, or you send this flash drive to me as a copy, and I'll freaking send it out there on all platforms where it can be seen. So everybody has a chance to look into what this is, because it concerns us, all of us. And there are, as I said, people that still struggle with finding Christ. Maybe this would be the pitchfork that can send them in the right direction, once and for all. So you disclose this now, Paul. Now. Is that clear? And I'm talking to you like a brother. And I don't care if you're older than me. I don't care if you've got more subscribers than me and you fancy popular. This is not about popularity. This is about humanity. God bless you. And you too, Paul. May you do the right thing, and that is to disclose this material ASAP. Over and out.